March 21st, 13. It has some interesting variations in it. So we begin with Vairagya Mudra. You can see this position. Whoops, go back here. Vairagya Mudra. It's basically thumb and index finger together, back of the wrist off of the knee. Everybody centered. You can see Angela here doing the second version of Siddhasana with her foot tucked into the space between the calf and thigh. All right, now we come to a really interesting variation of Supta Virasana. So many people have difficulty because of tightness in the foot, the shin, the knee, thigh, low back, and so forth. So here, if you happen to have wall ropes, as we do, right, a person puts their hands up the wall and a partner can help them slip their feet into the two low rope knots. And then from there, they can push against the wall and have this great resistance to open up the back of the leg. Two Judiths there watching along as I'm giving something. And then as you push against the wall, and you see what a good job Wendy is doing here in keeping the pelvis in a neutral position. You really can get a good pelvic tuck, which is going to come back in a couple of other poses. So this is another way of opening the groin prior to straight leg positions. Now Kathy here is doing the beginning for Urdhva Prasarita Padasana, and that's where you raise and lower the legs. But here the key is by stretching your hands to the wall and touching the fingertips to the baseboard. As the legs start to go down, it pulls your trunk away from the wall, and then you realize you're compensating by tilting your pelvis, and then you're on the tailbone instead of using your abdominals and lumbar cord. So here's the different heights that people go to. And even though they're not all doing the 45, 60, 70 degree, 90 degree angle perfectly, nonetheless, doing it at the beginning of the class is a nice stimulation from all those nerves that are at the navel point. And of course, sometimes we do squeezing a block between the legs to teach the internal rotation, or using a belt on the thighs to pull out against, show the outer leg how it works, and then you repeat again without the block or the belt to see if you understood how to both simultaneously squeeze the legs toward each other while actively trying to pull them apart, neither one winning. So then it moves on, and now dog pose. How many classes already have you seen where like we do the groin openers, then the hamstring stretches? And you'll see this will come back later in another pose. So this is basic dog pose. Some people have the feet apart, some people have the feet together. And then this is another interesting variation where the partner can use their pelvis to press against the top waistline and pull you back and up. It really grounds the calf muscle tremendously. And then you get a sense of, I see where I'm not moving from. And then we come into Tadasana. Always check your standing posture. All the poses ought to help you get a sense of how to stand more correctly. So, testing, and then we move on. Here's an interesting technique, using standing poses with a pole, the pole of truth, infamous pole of truth. So this is showing how to use the pole to hold the two arms and get a real sense of verticality between the two and the shoulder blades, while the partner stabilizes your back hip. Then you can do the same thing once you understand how to open, turn your head up in Trikonasana. So here we have Rookie. She's doing first the Trikonasana, straight arms, and then eventually you want to get the diagonal on it. Anyway, here now we'll move to Haumanasana, where the back leg does a slight internal rotation, but you notice we have the front foot up on a block. That changes the angle of inclination, and then when the hands go up the wall for the next stage, you do like dog pose in the upper body, and you try to square the hips to the wall behind you. And then you climb the wall, and then you can, at a certain point, walk your hands down a little bit and push the wall and really ground that back heel. Except now you're doing it asymmetrically, and then you'll have to switch sides. And then from that, up the wall, out of Ekapada, one-legged Adho Mukha Svanasana, challenging pose. You drop the heel of the leg on the floor, you walk the leg up the wall, and that variation helps you get ready for Haumanasana. You can't get all the way to the floor, you put a bolster between the thigh and the groin, and as you can see here, two really interesting things. You have the front leg foot resisting against the wall, and then you have the partner on the back leg rolling the buttock, the sut, where the thigh meets the buttock, internally from the inside out, the back thigh rolls, and then you square the hips, and notice how the partner is also giving you this double belt as a resistance. You can stretch your arms up and really create that Hanuman action, swooping action, like when Hanuman supposedly jumped over from India to Ceylon. And then that kind of almost finishes you off. Then you do a twist as a kind of restorative shift. I'm going to go back there for a second. So that twist, if you notice, Pasasana variation, using the wall to help brace yourself, and having the heels raised up if you can't get them together. And that gives you a nice elongation of the back now. She's doing a really good job of getting the back of the arm to the outside of that knee. And then you can relax with the legs up the wall. So it's a Shavasana or Supta Virasana. Hope you enjoyed.